COBBERSATIONS. This is Concordia's first student-run podcast. I'm Lyndon. We're joined by Justin over there on the soundboards. How's it going today, Justin?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm feeling good today. I ate a full breakfast.
Good.
I feel like a full person now.
Good.
Breakfast is one of those things that we'll get our guests' thoughts on this in just a second. We won't say his name, and won't show his face, but he can say anything he wants to. But I feel like breakfast is a thing that I either undershoot or overshoot. But when I get it just right, I feel like an actual person. So.
Right on.
Well, anyway, we're joined here today by a very special guest. Justin, let me pose you a situation, a scenario.
Okay.
Okay. I want you to close your eyes and imagine this. I'm not going to look over there, and our guest is not going to tell me whether your eyes are closed. I'm just going to trust they are. You're first year. You arrive on campus. You don't know anybody. You're away from home. Whose job is it to lead your transition to college life?
It's your orientation leader.
Right. Orientation leader. Of course. Everybody knows that.
Yep. You're OL.
But here's a brain twister. Whose job is it to lead the orientation leaders?
Now that's a good question.
Well, we will answer that question today because we have the man himself, the orientation leader, 2020 orientation leader, Carson Selander.
Hello, thanks for having me today.
Thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm doing well so far. Beautiful day, good Friday.
Yep. Do you have breakfast this morning?
Just a little one,
Okay.
small breakfast.
Yeah, that's good. Light fuel for the day.
Mm-hmm.
You go heavy on lunch?
I had about 4 lunches, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's just kind of evens out then.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that you have only 2 dinners, usually.
Well, like every other day I have 2 and then like 4.
Right. That's a smart way to do it. Efficient. Well, obviously, we live together. We're roommates. We should
Yes.
disclose that. We could talk about eating all day, and we do most of the time. But we have more important things to discuss today. That is orientation. So, can you give us quickly just overview, in the broadest sense of the term, overview of what orientation is?
Yeah, I think orientation, kind of in the broadest terms, is going to be a student's first introduction to the college that they're attending, in this case, Concordia College. So it's going to be something where you learn about different people that are in your class, your professors, your inquiry class, different resources and things that are going to help you out that entire year. Really just get you acclimated to the place that you're going to be calling home for the next 4 years. And so it's really just kind of that helpful transition phase because it's a big life change to go from high school to college. And so we're here to help out with that.
Nice. So we'll talk about how orientation is different or changing in the process of changing this year because of unprecedented change. But what are some of the events, like mainstays of orientation in the past? Things that every year orientation has been known to do.
Yeah, so I think some of the mainstays are Hands for Change, usually the first Monday of orientation, doing service projects within the community, kind of getting involved, showing that we're not just a campus community, but we're deeply embedded, in Fargo-Moorhead as well. I think also Cabaret, the welcome show, big things that usually broadcast students' talents, as well as campus information and things. And so those are pretty, just solidified within the Concordia orientation schedule every year.
Right. So just to go back, clarify, Hands for Change is something you do with your orientation club, right?
Yep, orientation club and then campus partners within the community.
Right. I was wondering how are orientation clubs sorted? Are they sorted randomly?
They're sorted by who their inquiry class is,
Sure.
and so it's kind of just matched up with the professors that we have every year, and then they're numbered 1 through whatever it is.
Right. Very good. Very good. So maybe we should shift gears and talk about your own history with orientation. I, of course, have known you technically since we were first oriented.
Indeed.
Indeed. because we lived on the same floor. We weren't in the same orientation club. But
No, we were not.
Certainly not.
Of course.
But we were on the same floor, and remember, the only thing you said to me up until last year when you agreed to be roommates was the first week, I think the second day of college, and you said, "Oh, Soldier Boy's coming to town."
Yep, I think he was playing at homecoming for NDSU, and he had a poster up in the Skyway. I don't remember particularly what the joke was, but I made a comment.
And that was an orientation event we were going to. So these are the kind of friendships you make during those first 3 crazy days.
Yeah, those are the kind of magical moments that you can't schedule.
Yep.
Those organic things that just occur.
No. Justin, you remember anything from your orientation?
Oh. I mean, I remember things from orientation, yeah. I think the Hands for Change project was probably most memorable. Ours was going down to the river, the Red River, and picking up garbage from, like, the trail. And I grew up in Moorhead, so, like, I obviously biked or walked along those bike paths before. But, no, it was really cool to see everybody that morning kind of, like, rally up together and then head out and do their service projects and come back together. But
it's a whirlwind. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff usually happens.
It's a lot to plan. There's many moving pieces together.
Yeah. So, is orientation... Well, let's go through your history.
Okay.
So when was the first... So you joined orientation as an organization your sophomore year?
It would have been, I applied for the position and got the position at the end of my first year, but the first time I was like officially doing orientation work would have been when I was in OL, the beginning of my sophomore year. Yeah.
Sophomore year. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you were in OL sophomore year.
Yep.
Then you applied to be on the orientation committee.
Orientation committee. Yep.
Okay. So I remember we had a conversation once about your kind of philosophy. I'm going to misquote you because I'm not even going to quote you, but it's just paraphrase. You said some people go into orientation or like clubs like this because they're like, I experienced it, I love it, I just want to be a part of it. But I remember you saying that you went into it to change things, to kind of make it your own. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I think a lot of times, like we have many people that apply to be an orientation leader every year because they love the energy and kind of the vibe of orientation, right. And just that experience as a whole, and being able to kind of recreate that every year is a big draw for a lot of people. I wanted to kind of have a different experience. I didn't want to do the same thing again. And so I wanted to be on the committee, which is more of kind of a full year position, so that I could hopefully make some, I don't know, not that there needed to be improvement, but just like make it my own, have a say in kind of how things were going to go. And so that's why I joined the committee, is just to be a bigger part of it than in OL.
Sure. So what are some things that you did as a committee member? So, because you had a specific position on the committee, right?
Yeah. So there's many different positions on the committee. I was the productions co-coordinator with Jared Torgerson. Mm-hmm. And our main job was to run the Frosh finale, the cabaret, and the welcome show. Sure. And so one of them occurs like at the end of the year when you got the position, and the next one is the orientation after summer.
Okay. So that would be Frosh finale. Mm-hmm. How close? That's really close to getting the position and just going straight into work, right?
Yeah, it can be. We're usually like given the position in like mid-November. Okay. And so we kind of start around there, but it's usually we have like meet once a week for 2 hours. And then it's kind of just like, because our project had something coming up sooner, we had to find time to meet more than other people on the committee did. Sure. Just because we had a bigger project coming up.
Sure. So you had so much fun, had a whirlwind. It was a roller coaster of fun. Mm-hmm. As a productions co-coordinator.
Indeed.
You decided to take the big leap.
Yep. I decided that I still enjoyed it enough. I got to work with Tate Hovland, who is the orientation chair for my committee,
graduated
and thought that
last year.
Yep, graduated in 2020. Yep. And I thought that looked like something that was really interesting and provided me with a lot of experience there. Mm-hmm. And so I applied for that position and now have gotten that position as well. And so that's where I've kind of been this last year.
Sweet. So what does an average day look like for you, just in your position as orientation leader? Sure.
So yeah, last year on the committee, we started like mid-November, as I talked about. As the chair, it starts even earlier. Like we start orientation planning already in October of the year before.
Sure.
Just because we already have to do that selection process of like, I had to interview everyone for the committee this year. I get to build like my own committee of people. And then right after that is orientation leader hiring and our orientation assistants and fits, things like that. So we had to start pretty early on a lot of those things. So during the school year, it has a lot of our like spikes and valleys. So like during hiring weeks, like it's super busy, but other weeks, like I maybe only have like an hour of things to do.
Sure.
So it's a lot of kind of that. Right now, the job position also comes with a summer internship. And so I'm 40 hours a week all summer. And it's a lot of big changes this year as opposed to kind of what the position has looked like before, just because I started off the first half of the summer working completely from home. Now I'm in the office, but we're still social distancing and don't have full capacity there.
Right.
And so it can be difficult with a position that is very collaborative, working with Amanda Peters, who is my supervisor, and the many other people within the Center for Student Success. So it can be difficult, but it's a lot of meeting, coordinating with different offices, just because I think we work with just about every single office or department on campus involved with planning orientation. So it can be a lot of Zoom meetings,
Sure.
Which are not preferred, but it's kind of just how you have to adapt right now.
Yep. It's one of those times. Yeah, I guess we should jump into it. First, though, I kind of want to talk about just last semester, because I feel like maybe that would be a good segue into talking about how life has changed. So how did last semester go for you online? Because for me, I will say, I will go first to take the pressure off you. It did not go well. Just I don't think it went well for anybody, obviously. So I didn't feel bad, and nobody should feel bad if it didn't meet their expectations, because of course not. I think just getting through it is something to be proud of. So yeah, how did it end up though?
Yeah, I think there was some mixed reviews on things. I think like the big thing I had to remind myself, and I heard from a couple professors, is to like give yourself and other people grace. I think specifically just with like how quickly things changed. I know that one of my professors specifically said like, this is not an online class, even though it is an online class. Like classes that you put online are specifically like have a curriculum that works online.
Right.
And when you only have a week and a half to throw it online, like it's not going to be the same. And so I don't necessarily like blame Concordia or the professors.
Sure.
But it was difficult. I mean, for students, it's not something easy to go to. I had an interpersonal comm class, which every day, the whole time, we would just like talk to each other and like study how like communication and things worked.
Yeah.
And it's not possible to do through a Zoom call,
Right.
or like not at all.
Yeah.
And so things like that are really difficult. But I think just if you can find a way to be adaptable and kind of make your schedule, it's possible. Still not preferred, but I think there are ways that you can kind of be independent in that way. I had 2 of my classes that I like finished early because it was just like, okay, these are our things we have to do, like the syllabus, we just have to finish before the end of the semester. And I just was like, I have these things I'm going to focus on later because they're more timely at the end of the year.
Sure.
But I'm going to do these things that I can just like right now. And so I like got a class done like 3 weeks before the end of the semester was over.
Yeah, that's one of the, I think that always trying to, think what can I take out of this? I think that was the one thing that I recognize that I need to work on, is like time management when my classes mainly transition to asynchronous. So just do your work at your own pace. And it's so easy to just go a day without doing work, and then you go the next day. And then it's next week, what? 3 of my assignments are overdue on Moodle. But recognizing that and then getting better, I feel like for myself, that was one thing I recognized. Justin, do you have any thoughts on how last semester went?
No, it was surprising. I just got back from a spring break trip where we went like Montana, Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, Colorado, and we came back and I think we had like a week of class, and then it was canceled. So it was really weird because I remember on that trip driving into Denver, and we heard like Denver had the first 2 cases. And we were like freaked out, like, oh my God, there are 2 cases here. Like, we need to get out of here. And then we came back home, and that was when it like got real, and classes started getting canceled at other colleges, and then Concordia, and it all just like happened so fast. Like things went from totally normal to like unprecedented in 2 weeks.
Right.
So it was a weird transition.
So yeah, last semester was unprecedented, as is the word that's used many times because it's
more often than it needs to be.
right. But it is true, and we learn things about ourselves. We adapt, we change, react, act, and react, and then readapt. So, what lessons or things that you've noticed from how your classes went, how just like your lifestyle changed, are you taking into orientation because orientation is different this year?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of it comes with trying to help out the orientation leaders and first years as much as we can by almost pre-planning things for them. Right. I think kind of like setting your own schedule and things like that is probably one of the hardest parts, where you just feel like it's just a continuation of summer now. Right. Like we're done. And so being able to kind of give them like, this is a timeline of events, like you'll be doing this and then this, still having like free time and things like that so they can, learn their environment because they'll be here for the first time. But I think giving them as much structure as we can,
sure,
just because that's what's going to help them out as much as they can, is just like having something kind of normal in their life.
Right.
And so we're trying to keep it pretty traditional, like in an orientation sense of like schedule wise of events and things that we're doing.
Sure. So is it still going to be 3 days, is it?
Yeah, so we're still kind of in that planning process of traditionally it starts on this Saturday night of the second day of move-in, or Saturday move. We're going to restart that one.
Go for it.
So typically we'll start on like the Sunday night. We're have move-in this year on Saturday and Sunday, so it's 2 days.
Sure.
And so we'll have like first club meetings and things like that on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there we have orientation on Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and classes start on Thursday.
Okay.
And so lots of events, a beanie toss in there somewhere,
Right.
And things kind of within those timeline.
Yeah. So so the schedule's kind of staying the same, but are any events changing? Not going to be here this year? Look different in any way?
Yeah, I think just about everything is going to look different for sure.
Right.
I think the things that we're keeping are going to be pretty similar in a sense of like what you would think is there, but they might look different. They might be in a different timeline. Like, for example, like Hands for Change is typically like all day on Monday, and that's kind of the big thing. But because we have to social distance and break into smaller groups, we'll kind of be doing like a 5-group process. So someone maybe starts Hands for Change from 8 to 9 on Monday, and then the next group does it 10 to 11, and then the next group does it 1 to 2. And so that we can kind of separate that a little bit. Sure. And then of course, like as the Hands for Change projects are rotating, there's 4 other things that are also rotating in there at the same time.
Right.
And so instead of building one schedule like they have in the past, we almost have to build 5.
Right.
But it's just part of that, giving people as much structure as we can.
Yeah.
As well as making sure that we're maintaining as much social distancing and things as possible.
Yep. Being safe, keeping those new first years healthy, safe.
Indeed.
Ready to learn, ready to be a cobber. So let's transition just for a bit. We can come back to anything you want, but transition to talk about yourself, because I know you, again, on a personal level, we reside in the same place, live right next door to each other.
Yep.
So you're not just orientation chair. You are involved in another, I would say, huge student organization on campus that you are the leader of, co-leader. Last year I knew you were.
It depends what organization you're talking about.
Of course, the table tennis club.
The table tennis club, I was the co-president of during my sophomore
year.
and junior year.
Yeah.
and then we shut it down second semester.
Shut it down. It's no longer. It's dead.
So yeah, so if someone wants to bring that down, I will go. I just did not have time on my hands being in so many orientation and admission activities
Right.
to kind of run that and have those free hours. But there are still tables available if anyone wants to pick that up.
Oh yeah, pick it up. Get it going. Should have vetted that question, huh? Should have asked you before that. Let's talk about you as a person, if that's okay. Okay. I'm gonna take that as a yes.
Yeah.
Usually we require a verbal yes, but
Yes.
we do. Okay, good. We got. Okay, yeah. So we do need that verbal yes.
Okay, I didn't sign that contract.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right. So let's talk about you. Let's talk about how you view school academics. I guess being involved in the Concordia community, being involved is good. Do you have any advice for students wanting to be involved, or advice for maybe students that get over involved? Just advice for students.
Yeah, I think it's important to kind of learn about what opportunities are there for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think orientation is obviously a really good time to figure that out because you're experiencing everything for the first time. I think it's always important not to be over involved. Sign yourself up for a few clubs and kind of judge how interested are you actually in going to that club.
Right.
Because signing up doesn't 100% commit you in like anything.
Right.
But you might just get added to an email list. But I think it's important to, start with 3 things maybe and, slowly dwindle it down to 1 or 2.
Right.
Because some clubs are going to take an hour a week and some are going to be a hour every day type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's important just to kind of figure out where you can balance things. Because I also think it's important during that first semester not to over involve yourself, specifically because like, I think in the easiest way to put it, like as a first year in college, like you don't know how to study.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's kind of impossible to like officially know how to study
Mm-hmm.
going from high school to college. And so you got to kind of give yourself that grace to maybe your classes aren't going to go as well as you hope that first month or 2.
Sure.
But eventually you'll figure it out and you'll figure out how much free time you actually have.
Right. So talking about getting involved, this just made me think of because I would say that you should limit it to like 3, like you said. That's a good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good number. But you should choose at least one that like kind of is like pushes you outside, or something that you wouldn't choose. Because I remember you talked about joining table tennis club, and you were like on the way to Ultimate
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, so I found a handball club.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And I was on the way there, and literally while like leaving my dorm, there was a sign up for Ultimate Frisbee Club.
Sure.
And so I said, "Oh, that looks really interesting." I grabbed the little slip and put it in my pocket, and I went to handball club, and it was a little too intense for me, a little too much running around.
Sure.
And so then I made kind of the mental note to myself of like, all right, we're going to Ultimate next time, because they were at the exact same time. And yeah, I've been there ever since. So it's just kind of figuring out that balance of things.
Yeah. You said I like the court. Sure.
Mhm.
Certainly. I like the court. I like the ball. But can we shrink it? Can we shrink both of those things to table size?
Yes, precisely. I think it's just kind of, figuring that out. And I was like, a ball is nice, but like a disc, frisbee, way better.
Okay. Yeah. So you're a big ultimate fan.
Yep. Pretty, ultimate fan is what some people would call me.
This guy.
So
What does Justin think about that one?
I don't know what to say. Where are we going with this?
Just end it there. Just end the podcast. No.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
just stand up and leave.
No, you sit down. We're gonna leave. No, you are involved in. I think it. This actually does have a point though. Just wanna before I start. So you're a big Ultimate fan. I remember that I know for a fact. I have this it's verifiable. Okay, so you can't squirm out of this one. You're in an Ultimate, or you were. I don't know the status of it. An Ultimate group in like the greater Fargo-Moorhead area. Can you talk about getting involved off campus, getting involved in the community outside of the Concordia bubble?
Yeah, I can do that. So I was on the ultimate frisbee team here at Concordia. Our captains kind of coordinated with the team at NDSU, and so we had some scrimmages like against them. Nothing official, but few of the people on their team were starting up a summer league in Fargo.
Sure.
And that was last year's summer of 2019. And they were starting up for the first time. Fargo's never had an ultimate frisbee team. And so they kind of had an open invitation to anyone in the area is allowed to join this.
Sure.
I was going to be in the area for the whole summer. Concordia doesn't have a team during that time. And so
You said, I'm anyone from the area?
I am anyone from the area. So I decided to go, try out for that and join that team. And it was a lot of fun being able to kind of, hang out with people outside of Concordia.
Sure.
There were grad students from NDSU students, as well as just some like fathers from the area also that were just looking to get involved.
Oh, yeah. That's what fathers do, I assume. I don't know.
Oh, they were. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were definitely there.
Those fathers, certainly. That's for sure true.
Yeah, verifiable.
Again, verifiable. But most fathers also probably just do that too. I think it is good to establish ties in the community outside of, wherever you are. I think that is good. I think you do that very well. I don't know where this is going. Well.
Should we do rapid fire?
I hear a sound, and the sound could only mean one thing in the entire world. And that is we have to go to a section now called Rapid Fire Cobber Questions, where we're going to ask you questions.
Okay.
And you have to answer. Last podcast, we didn't have rules. We didn't really have rules. I made them up, but they were bad rules. So I'm going to make them up now. Again, you have to answer within 5 seconds. First thought that comes to your head.
Okay.
I can't know that is true, what you do, but trust you. Okay, ready?
I am 100% ready.
Okay. Justin, are you ready?
Absolutely.
Do you want to go back and forth asking questions?
Yeah?
I feel like that might be fun.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Is that gonna be?
I'll be able to comprehend. Yeah.
Shouting at you from two angles.
It'll help me.
Okay.
It'll help me.
That's why I like my directions. Is one in one ear, the other in the other. Okay. Rapid fire cobber questions. Number 1, what orientation club were you in?
I was a part of Club 26.
26.
Can you do your orientation club cheer?
Yes, I know for a fact that they had trouble rhyming something with 26, and so it was put on some Vicks with Club 26, and then we would pretend that we were putting Vicks on our throat.
I do remember that one. Yeah. Okay. What was the orientation cheer of your No, that's a bad question. I was gonna say your orientation club, the orientation club that you led your sophomore year.
Yeah. So we were Club 24, and so it was Club 2, 4 score and 7 years ago.
Oh.
And it was a picture of Abraham Lincoln on our sign.
Oh, hey, that's good.
That's good. What's your go-to maize meal?
Oh, just some good old iced tea and maize fries.
Certainly.
Classic.
Certainly. Next question. Favorite study spot on campus?
Definitely one of the big study rooms in ISC. Glass walls.
That's a good one.
What's your favorite class you've ever taken at Concordia?
I would have to go with Group Comm with Dr. Eileen Booslig.
Okay. What's your favorite season on campus?
I think my favorite season on campus is going to be either the spring or the summer. That warm weather, seeing all the trees start to come alive again.
Yeah, snow melting, take that first breath of fresh air.
Exactly, like in May when it starts to melt.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself more of a kernel or more of a niblet?
I'm 100% on the Niblet fan base.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Team Niblet.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I respect that. I also am not a fan of Colonel. I'm a fan of Niblet, though. Niblet's cool. What are you looking forward to most this coming year?
I mean, orientation is probably going to be the thing I'm looking forward to most. Kind of having, me being able to plan out a large part of that and seeing that all come to fruition after a year of working on that is just going to be a large part and kind of a hopeful vision of success.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Well, I think that about does it. Do you have any questions for us, Justin?
No, I'm good.
I think we're
Yeah.
far over our time here. So thank you for joining us, Carson. Once again, the 2020 orientation chair. Catch him those first whirlwind days of college. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. It was a joy.
All right. I hope you join us next time on our next episode of COBBERSATIONS, Concordia's first student-run podcast.